Hey everyone, and welcome to the Dose of Bliss show, where we give you daily doses of bliss to live your best life. Today I have Vanessa Petronelli. I said it right, correct?
You did.
She is a international spiritual coach and a channeler, right?
Yes.
So we're going to get into all of that. I'm so happy to have you here today.
Oh, I'm so excited to be here.
To share you with everybody who watches Dose of Bliss. So can you explain a little bit what a spiritual coach is and a channeler?
Sure. Two different things,
Yeah.
but all really pointing to the direction of helping people to connect to their most authentic self and to stay aligned to their divine mission, as I call it, or their divine plan, and to live the most fulfilled life. So the spiritual coaching is a little bit different than the trance channeling. I use my intuitive abilities, and it's more conversational based. You're speaking with me. We're asking powerful questions and having a powerful conversation for you to get to the core of what may be feeling misaligned in your life or with what you're doing day to day or your relationships. And then with the trance channeling work, I'm actually in a state, a trance medium state. So my eyes are closed. I'm still there. I'm still connecting with you, but I work with Palladian guides, as they're called. And they're basically a trio of non-physical beings that I work with that come through to offer higher consciousness guidance to the people who are connecting with them or who are at my events or my clients.
That's so cool. So how do you get into something like this? Because you don't meet someone every day who is a spiritual coach or, you know, has guides. A lot of people might not even know that guides exist, you know? So
Right.
How do you get into that?
So, I mean, this has been a lifelong journey. This is not something that I just stumbled into. I believe this is what I was born to do and what I came to create and help people with in this lifetime. And as a child, I was very intuitive, very connected to God, universe, divine, whatever resonates most for those listening, and had this really strong connection to anything about aliens. I had a strong connection to anything metaphysical, and it was also highly intuitive, but I kept it to myself. I didn't want other people to know about it. And at 14, the voice of God, that's how I interpreted it, told me to go into the entertainment industry. And I spent 10 years in that industry as an actress, a model, a singer, believing that that was the vehicle to help, like really help people at a bigger level. But the longer I was in it, and as I started to have my own spiritual awakening and started to get into personal development, what started to happen was I started to feel really misaligned. That the industry that I was in, that I was so attached to thinking was going to be where I would be able to help a lot of people, didn't feel true anymore for me. And after a series of really interesting events and diving more into learning more about myself and reclaiming my spiritual gifts, I was veered off into another direction, which is what I've been doing for over a decade, which is the spiritual coaching, all of the energy healing work that I do, and then the trance channeling work. But I look at it, I've been a channel my whole life. So whether I'm channeling guides or I'm channeling and speaking with you, it's a matter of being present and just more attuned to other frequencies or consciousness other than what we are experiencing here on the third dimensional plane.
Yeah, and, you know, I like how you brought up being, you know, true to yourself, which we're going to get into. I definitely want to talk about the topic of today will be your authentic self. But for the people watching who might be like, okay, she's like a channeler or guides, this is weird. How do you explain it to them? Like, how do you feel within you that this is real? And how do you make sense of that to people who might be a skeptic watching?
Absolutely. And I think that people should be a skeptic around these things because there are a lot of people who claim to do these things who are not actually really doing them. I've had years and years of training. I have consistently been devoted to my spiritual path and my development internally, externally, and also with my gifts. So, you know, for somebody who's not drawn to this work, they may always remain skeptic, but for those people who have that curiosity, who feel that internal draw to experience something like this, they'll show up and they'll be able to put some of that, you know, skepticism aside. I think we're at a time now on this planet where more and more people are becoming more open, who are desiring to learn more about this type of work, and it's not as weird. But 10 years ago, even when I was starting, you know, my coaching work and energy work and doing readings for people, it was weird. You know, it was not a thing that people were really looking for. And I come from Canada, so, you know, in Toronto at that time, it was difficult. But the thing that really has kept me true to this path is knowing that I'm on the right path and the right people will show up. So it's one of those things that it's probably a longer conversation.
Yeah, we'll have
around
to
the
have
whole
you back on the show to
skepticism.
talk about, you know, channeling into that and
Right.
you know, about people being skeptic. But speaking of all of that, I feel like, you know, just to touch on the skeptic stuff is I was recently watching a documentary and, you know, medical science just learned, I mean, it can kind of be explained through quantum physics, which is a whole nother conversation, which is science.
Yes.
Because I'm all about this stuff too, but science only sees us as a physical being right now. And quantum physics wasn't discovered till 1920s, and the quantum physics is energy. So we do know that atoms are, you know, mainly made out of energy and air. So science today doesn't take into account that air or that energy. So
Right.
for the people watching, you know, there is in science something out there that isn't proven completely yet because it's just been discovered. So there is something to it.
Yes, and I'm seeing more the science and spirituality communities coming forward and coming together and not working against each other. So I love that you brought up that point.
Oh yeah, I love this sort of stuff.
Oh, I could dive into
I know.
this for hours.
We will. We'll have to have you back. So today the topic obviously is coming into your authentic self. I think that's a great place to start because I want to do something for maybe someone who's a beginner level who
Right.
might not be open to this, or, you know, I think anyone can relate to being true to yourself. And I think that's also the first step into coming into alignment with whatever your universe is. So how would you define coming to your authentic self, and how does that make the difference to, you know, spiritually aligning yourself?
Right. I mean, here we are on a planet where, based on our background, our conditioning, our belief systems, how we grew up, you know, how we perceive ourselves in the world, it really shapes how we see ourselves and the roles we play. So, you know, coming into your authentic self, if I were to just put it so simply, is about being your most fullest expression of who you are. Meaning, if I love to play piano, but I've had my entire life people say, don't play piano, you can't be an artist, and I've suppressed that. That might be the entry point for somebody to say, well, I've been repressing my creative side, my musical side. It's time for me to step into and honor those parts of me that feel so true, that bring me so much joy and have me feel alive. I think that is one of the earliest signs for somebody to detect whether they're feeling that they're authentic or not, is what you're doing and who you're being in the world. Does it feel true? Like, do you feel joy in how you're showing up day to day? Or are you feeling upset, sad, depressed, anxious? Are you feeling like you are living your life based on what other people want you to be and who they think you should be? Because your most authentic self has nothing to do with anyone around you. And quite honestly, even, you know, living my own life for many years, hiding a lot of my own gifts and my truth, the biggest fear for me is, what are people going to think? How's my family going to react? What are, you know, partners at the time, I'm now married, but partners at the time, what are they going to think if I actually speak my truth and I'm really authentic about who I am and what I do and, you know, what I'm here to create in this world? And so it's the fear that really stops people, I think, from being their boldest expression of who they are and being authentic. So I think the first step is really noticing, like, day to day, how am I feeling about my life and where I'm putting my energy and my time, and how do I feel about myself? Am I living the life that I really truly desire to be living, or am I living somebody else's, you know, projection or fantasy, or, you know, what I've been conditioned to believe?
I think that's so true, because so many people in the world, you were lucky to be blessed to know your purpose early on and know who you are, but so many people don't even know. They have no idea. So what are your tips for someone? Obviously, you were saying finding what's right or wrong, but what should someone be doing so that they can understand that that maybe they don't even notice that they're not living their authentic self?
So here's something I want to clear up for everybody, and I hope that this brings a bit of a relief for those who are watching. I have had so many people over the years come to me asking me, I want to know what my purpose is. I have no idea what it is. What do I do? How do I figure it out? We've confused career and our jobs with purpose, and it actually isn't the case. Our purpose is to be ourselves in each and every moment, whatever that looks like. Our mission is the vehicle for that expression. So if somebody feels that they're an artist, or because we're in Hollywood, right?
Yeah.
So they're an artist, they're a creative, or there's something that you just have such a passion for, then you get to have the expression of that through your mission, through bringing that out into the world. And typically your mission and your purpose is bigger than you, right? It's about helping other people, being of service, looking at the bigger picture and your place in it. So I want to clear up, purpose is first and foremost you connecting to who you are, to your truth, to your passions, to what has you come alive. And then what you end up doing with that, whether it's professional or not, doesn't matter. The fact is that your purpose is to be you and to discover the real you, not the you that maybe you've been taught you should be, right? Just what I was saying a few moments ago.
And why do you think society kind of focuses on your purpose being your career and money versus, what really your purpose is and what you should feel and happiness really at the core?
Right. I mean, since the time we're children going to school, I mean, it is put down our throats, find a career, figure out what you want to be when you grow up. So it's in our institutions that we are taught from the time we were children that we have to figure out what we're going to do for our vocations. And I think that we have crossed those lines of, well, I have to figure it out at a very young age. And if I don't figure it out and I don't really know what makes me happy, then I'm failing in some way. And so, rather than focusing on developing ourselves to be who we need to be and to figure that out in our own time and way, we're so focused as a society on trying to figure out what we're going to do to make money or earn a living. So I think it starts from the time, we're really young, and then it just exasperates as we get into adulthood if we haven't figured it out.
Yeah, and I feel like the answer is often easier than we think,
Right.
What would be your tip for finding that alignment? For example, is it finding something that makes you feel happy all the time, and instead of focusing on how much money I make, focusing on is what I'm doing making me feel happy?
Right. We have to get out of this mindset, I feel, as a society that everything needs to be monetized, because if we're focusing only on that, we're missing other opportunities that could open up. In terms of our whole, I call it like your soul revealing to you, hey, over here, these are the things that I really would like for you to express and do. And I always look at it, what are the things that as a child or as a young adult you really felt drawn toward? What are the things even as an adult that you feel that you're magnetizing toward, that bring you that happiness or that joy? Or if you imagine waking up every day for the rest of your life and being able to do this thing or that thing, but not be paid for it, that it would bring you joy. I mean, these are the things that you have to be willing to dig a little deeper. It's not always just going to come up in your thoughts just like that on command. You may have to sit with yourself, meditate, pray, get connected, work with a coach, work with somebody to help you to extract your gifts and who can see you even beyond how you see yourself.
So we're almost done with the interview. It's going so fast. It's going so fast. But before we finish, I just have a few more questions about, if you want to find your authentic self, but you realize you're not living on your path, what are your tips for letting go what doesn't serve you?
Well, first and foremost, when you check in and if you're holding on to relationships, a job, certain belief systems or fears, this is an opportunity because truth feels juicy and yummy. That's one of my teachers used to say that. If you want to know what yes is and what truth is, it feels juicy. There's something about it that feels relaxed and open. So if you're noticing that whatever you're doing day to day, it feels like there's a contraction, it feels tight, it feels heavy, you don't feel good doing it, there's a sign to look at, oh, well, maybe this isn't quite serving me anymore. And we have to be honest with ourselves. It requires radical honesty to look at the areas of our lives and to decide if whether or not this is something that you're going to continue to show up for, or you're ready to release and let go. And you have to be open and ready for that process because it can't just, again, be on command. You have to prepare yourself to release certain things from your life. And sometimes they're big things and they're relationships or they're external or it's a job or a habit. And sometimes it's more internal where we have to look at our belief systems and our fears and how we think about ourselves and the world.
Yeah, but when you do that, that's when really everything opens up for you. And we
Exactly. When you let go of what you're gripping onto and you release it, it opens you up. It expands you into the new, into a new beginning, into something that you haven't even thought maybe was possible. I definitely wouldn't be here with you if I hadn't let go of
Me too.
many things in my lifetime to get to this point. So we can't clutch on to things because we think we should have them or we're afraid of the unknown. I think sometimes when we're holding on to things and we're not letting go, we're more afraid of the known, of what we've been used to versus stepping into the new.
Yes, exactly. And I always think, and someone once told me, when you let go of what doesn't serve you, you have more room for things that you love. You have more room for that because that's taking up a space that you can have for so many good things to make you happy. You just have to take the step.
Exactly.
Well, I'm so happy we have you here. I wish we had more time. We're gonna have to do another because we have to go all into the channeling. Everyone, you have to comment below your questions. But thank you so much for coming here, and thank you for watching Focus TV. Can you tell everybody, we're newly branded to Ever Talk TV, actually, you guys. So take note of that. I'm going to say at the end of the video where you can find it. But can you tell everyone where they can find you?
Absolutely. You can visit my online home at vanessapetronelli.com, and you can also find me on social media. Vanessa Petronelli on Instagram and V Petronelli on Facebook. And
then she also has a lot of shows and seminars where she could talk to you, so you can tell them a little bit about that. She has one coming up, and she also, you can find her online when the next one is near you. But
yes, I'll have one coming up on April 3rd here in Hollywood called Enhanced Success.
I'm going to be there.
So if you are interested in attending and you are in the entertainment industry, please reach out to me. We'll get you RSVP'd to this exclusive and private event that we're putting on.
I'm so excited. I'm going to be there. Thank you guys so much for watching. You can always find these videos and binge them on Ever Talk TV. They're also now on Apple TV. And of course, I share them on YouTube and my blog, doseofbliss.com. Please, wherever you're watching this, be sure to subscribe, like it, and give us a comment of what you want us to talk about next time. And don't forget to follow me at Lindsay Hoffman, and we will see you later. Thanks for coming. Bye.